There's a line between neighborhood pride and power-hungry stupidity. And when the Lakeview Shores HOA crossed it by demolishing the old timber bridge on my private land, the very bridge my grandfather built and I maintained, they had no idea they were sealing their own watery fate. Because I control the water diversion gate that keeps their exclusive $5 million lakefront properties from becoming mudfront disasters. Let me take you back to where this all began. I'm Luke Hartley, 57, a quiet rancher and mechanical engineer by degree, with a strong love for my inherited 140-acre property in northwest Georgia. My land hugs the west end of Carver Lake, a spring-fed body of water that was man-made during a Depression-era land revitalization project. Over the decades, the area around it became a high-end haven, eventually leading to the creation of Lakeview Shores, a gated community packed with megamansions, Tesla chargers, and a dozen Karens. One of the best features of my land is an old, hand-built timber bridge that crosses a narrow inlet of the lake. Built by my grandfather in 1941, it connects two parts of my property and provides access to a trail I use for cattle, ATVs, and occasionally hosting fishing retreats for veterans. The bridge was sturdy, regularly inspected and reinforced by me personally, but rustic in design. Think timber railings, mossy wood, and a charm straight out of a John Steinbeck novel. Apparently, this offended the aesthetic sensibilities of Lakeview Shores. It started with letters. The HOA, specifically their president, Jocelyn Faulkner, a retired interior designer with a vendetta against anything unpolished, accused me of building an unauthorized structure within the protected Lakeview corridor. I reminded them, 1. My land is outside their HOA boundaries. 2. The bridge predates their community by 60 years. 3. I pay no dues, follow no bylaws, and owe them nothing. Then came the cease and desist orders, which my lawyer laughed at. So they escalated. One morning, I woke to the sound of chainsaws and machinery. When I raced down to the inlet, I found a demolition crew, hired by the HOA, tearing my grandfather's bridge apart with chains, crowbars, and a godforsaken mini-excavator. I lost it. I screamed, threatened to call the sheriff, and demanded they stop. But the site supervisor said, "We were told this was HOA common property." Except it wasn't. I showed them the deed, the survey, and the county record proving my ownership. They froze, but the damage was done. The bridge lay in a pile of broken beams and memories. Now here's the part Jocelyn and her HOA friends didn't know. Carver Lake is sustained by a series of spring-fed inflows, and every drop entering the west half of the lake flows through a spillway and diversion gate on my land. The HOA didn't own the lake. They just benefited from it. My family had maintained the dam and inlet valves for decades, which is why the lake always stayed at a perfect level for their paddle boats and lakefront barbecues. So I did what any wronged, land-owning engineer would do. I shut the gate. Not all at once. That'd be too obvious. I reduced the flow over 2 weeks, just enough for the lake to gradually recede. By week 3, docks began to tilt. The infinity pool at the clubhouse no longer reached the lake's edge. Geese wandered where kayaks used to float. Homeowners panicked. They called the county. The county said, "It's private land, not our jurisdiction." They called the HOA. Jocelyn blamed drought conditions. I posted a sign by the dried inlet. Bridge destroyed by HOA. Water access temporarily revoked pending restoration and apology. The photo went viral. Finally, Jocelyn came to my front gate, red-faced and furious. "You've made your point," she snapped. "Turn the water back on." I folded my arms. "Rebuild the bridge, pay for the damages, and issue a formal apology on HOA letterhead, acknowledging your trespass." She threatened a lawsuit. Bad idea. I had video of the demolition, witness statements, and survey data. Plus, after consulting my attorney, I filed a civil suit for $480,000 for destruction of historic private property, trespassing, and loss of land use. It made the local news. Faced with angry residents, whose property values were plummeting, the HOA caved. They rebuilt the bridge using original timber from a regional mill. paid me $320,000 in a settlement. And Jocelyn? She resigned and moved to Florida. Now, the bridge stands stronger than ever, with a new plaque that reads, Hartley Bridge, rebuilt after HOA Folly, 2025. And the water? It flows steady and strong again. For now. Because when you destroy a man's history, you'd best be sure he doesn't control the valves holding up your paradise.